Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Music of the Month, the thing I do at the start of every new month where I talk about the music I listened to in the month prior and grade it, because I'm a teacher and this is my world. It's not, I'm just an idiot on the internet. Still, we have about 20 odd-ish albums, not that oddish to Pokemon, to go through, so yeah, we may as well do it. Spoilers! There's a lot of A grades. November was actually a banger month for music, for me personally, it's just, opinions and such, so here we go. We start with 156 Silence with their album Irrational Pull. I believe it's a debut. So this is a unique one because this album did technically come out in June, but this is a deluxe version that came out in November. And I thought I'll wait for that version instead, listen to it, and it adds 2 new tracks, 3 technically if you count a cover song they do. And yeah, it gets an A. Like, I really like the emotional weight that this album had. The instrumental part's really, really great. Yeah, this is a hell of a project, and these are boys who are still very new to the game, and they're showing quite a lot of potential, so I think an A is a really good grade for them. Just really, really good stuff. Really enjoyed this. Next is Accuser with Accuser. Now, Accuser have actually been around for a lot longer than 156 Silence, and you'd think that a self-titled album would be the first thing they do, but no, this was Accused's first album in a while, I think, and also gets an A. It was just really good sort of thrash metal. Oh, by the way, 156 Silence does like a new metalcore, post-hardcore, emo sort of thing. Yeah, this was just really good, like old school sort of thrash heavy metal. I really, really enjoyed this one. Not the most complicated thing, but once again, this is a year where we needed a lot of the simpler stuff, because I've listened to a lot more of the complicated stuff, and it's just been burning my brain, so to get something like this is always a joy. And yeah, the band sound great. This is like the good old, the good sort of like old man metal that I quite enjoy, so yeah, not a bad start, not a bad album from a band who's been around a long time. Wish I could say the same about this next one though, AC/DC with Power Up. Now, yeah, it's sort of sad that Malcolm Young died, but even with him gone, AC/DC still sounds pretty much the same as always, so I'm giving this a C-. I know it's harsh, and I know that they lost Malcolm, but they should have stopped when he went, because it just doesn't really feel the same without him. It's not like a Chester situation from Linkin Park, because he died after One More Light came out, and I still think One More Light is not a good album, but yeah, I just don't. But for this one, it's like, pack it in, Akataka, I love you, but there is a line where you have to stop, and I think that line's been crossed now. And I don't want to wait another 6 years for another album for it to sound exactly the same, so I'm sorry. And then we go from another older band to another newer one, Bass Rotten with Surge. Yes, they picked that name on purpose, and Bass Rotten gave them a shout out on YouTube, and it was pretty fucking cool. So Bass Rotten are like a sort of a grind punk core sort of thing, and usually grindcore, it's not long as a rule. It's just like 1 minute, 1.5 at the most. That's basically a power ballad to grindcore artists, and I still really enjoy this one. That was just irreverent and silly. It gets a B. I thought this was a really solid start to their career. It just had a lot of really enjoyable stuff to it. It's irreverent. It doesn't really give too many fucks. And yeah, simple, just enjoyable, short fun. Next is Bearings with Hello It's You. So this is another debut album, and yeah, just once again, really good stuff. I believe it came out through Pure Noise Records, which is always a bonus for me because I love that label. Yeah, just really solid pop punk. I don't really know what else to explain to you. It doesn't go as hard as I would have liked, but for what it is, it's a really good style of it, especially. I think the lead singer's got a lot of charm to him. So, yeah, this is just solidly enjoyable pop punk. Bit familiar, but familiar is good, as I've discussed in the past, so not going to really complain about it too much. Next is Boundaries with Your Receding Warmth. Now, throughout this year, I've listened to a lot of bands who've done like the emo post-hardcore poetry thing, and this is a band that fits very much in that style. Sort of think Movements, but a bit heavier. Also not as good, but still really good. I'm giving this one a B+. Just, yeah, it told a really good story, especially the closing track. Like, I love it when bands do Easter eggs on albums where they drop, like, name references to the songs that came before it, and it came out like a lovely poem by the end. I like the spoken word stuff, and it does have really good elements of, again, movements and a lot of disputes, so not going to complain too much, and I feel like if these guys can put it a bit more better together, they'll definitely rank higher, but a B+ is not a bad grade for a band who hasn't been around super long. I think this is a debut, I could be very wrong about that, so Yeah, but still worth scoping out though if you're into it. Next is Broken Round with Beautiful Chaos. God, this album cover looks it's not good. It's not good. It just looks off. But this album really good. Yeah, just some solid sort of metalcore with elements of wee bits of thrash. It reminded me quite a lot of an album I covered a couple of months ago. I can't remember the name of it though. But yeah, I think it was Kill the Lights. I could be wrong. I'm giving this one a B+. Also, like, just really solidly enjoyable metal. Has a lot of really good moments to it. The lead singer, he can fucking go. This is another album I wanted to be heavier than it was, but for what I got, once again, not going to complain. Still thought it was really enjoyable, so B+. Next is Draconian with Under a Godless Veil. Draconian have been around for a wee while, to my knowledge, and they're sort of like one of those long dragged out prog metal sort of things, you know, the thing I've been listening to quite a lot this year. I think it's because I haven't heard a lot of it lately that I'm giving this a B- and not a lower grade. Yeah, like, I've just heard quite a lot of the style, but this one at least tries to tell an interesting story. The vocalists, I think there's a female and a male, I could be wrong, or it's just either way, this was really good stuff. Like, not great, but still really good, and I am docking points mostly because I've heard so much of this style this year, you know, even if I haven't heard it recently, I've just heard way too much of it, but yeah, I think a B- is the fairest grade I can give it, you know, it's got good bits. It's got good bits. It's not great, but it's good. But next is when the A's start rolling in a bit more. Future Islands with As Long As You Are. Now, Future Islands are a British project who I was skeptical of because I'd heard of them through YouTube ads and I thought they were like this much older band who were trying to recapture former glory from how they sounded. Turns out they're not that old. They're actually as old as... They've been around for as long as While She Sleeps have, I think, which is weird. And yeah, this is an album that a friend recommended to me and I'm glad he did. I'm giving this one an A. I just thought this was some really solidly put together synth Britpop. With some really nice rock bits to it, and the lead singer, oh man, he's so good. He's so good. Really good vocal control. Yeah, I just really enjoyed this one a lot more than I thought I would. And it's one of those albums I didn't think I would like at first, but then I thought more about it, and I was like, actually no, this is actually a pretty good album. I'm glad my friend recommended this to me. Next, going back to another band that's been around for a long time, Hatebreed with The Weight of the False Self. And yeah, it's a Hatebreed album. It's a really good one. It has a more positive and uplifting tone to it in comparison to their last couple. And I'm giving it an A, mostly because the positive tone is actually a good change of pace. The band, again, doesn't really try anything new, but unlike AC/DC, they change it up enough. And once again, that comes mostly from the positive lyrical influences. You know, I mean, 2020 has been a dog shit of a year, but Weight of the Full Self is not a dog shit album. It's a really good one, which is why I'm giving it an A, duh. But yeah, once again, another one just worth listening to for yourself to see what you can make of it. Next is Hey Colossus with Dance's Curses. So I'm going to be honest, this is one of the first albums I think I listened to, and I can't remember a lot about it, but I gave it a B, so it must have been alright. Like, I think it was just this sort of not prog rock, sort of an indie rock sort of thing. It had quite a bit of charm to it, and the cover like reminds me of a Wile E. Coyote trap for Roadrunner if it actually went correctly. Yeah, this is an odd album. Still has some decent moments though. So if you're interested in this style, it might be worth seeking out for yourself. I did like it, but I wasn't super crazy about it. I must have liked something about it, I just don't know what. This next one I liked considerably more. I Am the Avalanche with Dive. Now this is the band's first album in 6 years. They've been off for a long time. And yeah, this is a band I've actually wanted to try out for a long time, I just never did. And I'm glad I did because, oh my god, this album is fantastic. A+, possibly top 20 material, possibly top 10 material. I fucking love this album. It's one of the 2 punk albums I loved the most from November. I'll get to the other one a bit later. But yeah, if you're not listening to this album, I don't know what to tell you. Great melodies, hooky, fantastic vocal delivery. That lead singer, he's amazing. Oh my god. Like, not what you would expect from the pop punk genre. It's got a lot of hardcore influence to it too, and a lot of indie rock and sort of an emo tinge, and yeah, it just makes it styles really well, and it tells great stories, and it's a really good album, and everyone sounds good, so fucking listen to it, mate. Honestly, it's really good. Next is Inhuman with Contra, and yep, another metal album, because I needed more of those to listen to. Yeah, Inhuman, there's actually a couple of bands with this name, so if you're going to look this up, keep that in mind. Obviously you'll know what you're looking for because I've posted the album cover in the video, so you'll be able to like see what it is when you look for it, but just keep in mind there is a couple of other bands with this name. So yeah, metal. I don't really know what else to say about it. Good metal. Decent vocals. Wish it went a bit better with the structure, like it is a bit repetitive, but metal. Good metal. Fairly enjoyable metal. What more do you want? Next is Jaded Star with the Real Line. Now, first of all, I love the name. I think it's a really good play on the term Faded Star. So, I was expecting them to have more punk rock vibe, but it's like a hard rock sort of symphonic sort of thing, with a really good female lead vocalist. And I've heard a lot of symphonic leaning female bands this year because of backtracking. It's nice to hear one that doesn't take themselves so seriously. I'm giving this one an A-. I thought this was a lot of fun. This was a really good sort of like start for me to get into the career. I don't know how long they've been around. This might only be their second or third album. It might still be early for them. Yeah, I just really liked a lot about this. And also the album cover is fucking exquisite. I would have that as a poster on my wall. I mean, look at this shit again. I will post this again. See? You want that as a poster on your wall? I do. It's fucking great. As is the album, obviously. Next is Killer Be Killed with Reluctant Hero. Now, Killer Be Killed are a supergroup consisting of members from Dillinger Escape Plan, Converge, I was going to say Max Cavalera, but he's actually been in bands Soulfly, and Sepultura, and also Mastodon. And yeah, basically if you get 4 musicians who are really fucking good at the instruments they play and the things they sing, you get a really good album. Really good groove metal, really good heavy metal, really heavy. Greg Puciato, I'm saying that correctly, is an amazing vocalist. You don't really need me to tell you that. You know he's good if you've ever listened to Dillinger Escape Plan. Yeah, everyone sounds great on this album. Yeah, it's one of those albums that doesn't really need a lot of substance because what you get is what you need, you know? What you get is just really enjoyable groove metal. That's just fun. You don't really have to think too much. Just good shit. Next is Mercules with Apply Pressure. Now, Mercules is someone I heard about through Crypt's YouTube cipher. I know I said this in a recent Catch Up Chaos episode about Echo, but yeah, the same applies to Mercules. Apply, get it? And like Echo's album, I'm also giving this one an A. I was expecting a lot more flexing, but like Echo, Mercules does a lot of really good... He does a lot of soul-searching about his like partying lifestyle. The fact that when he was younger, he had like, you know, he got into a fight and had this massive, he still has this massive scar on his cheek to this day. And the, you know, the outfall of that and how depressed he got and the therapy he needed. This album was actually quite an eye-opener for me, and I feel like I should be listening to this style of rap more because this is the style I prefer. I don't mind flexing, I don't mind a bit of fun, but you don't really get to see a lot of that in the... You know, you don't really get to hear a lot of this stuff in the mainstream, where it feels more honest, from artists like Mercules, like Echo, like Feral the Earthworm, you know, people like those. You don't really get it a lot, and it pisses me off, personally, with mainstream rap. Except for Run the Jewels, I mean, that's just really good stuff. Which, like this album is, hence it's great. Next is Mongrel's Cross with Arcana, Scrying, and Revelations. Now, this is a band that hasn't been around for a long time. I think this is their 3rd album, and, well, I could be very wrong about that. I don't really fully know. I should research these better. But yeah, this album was actually really enjoyable. I'm only giving it a B-, though, because the production is bad. It is really not good. Like, it just wasn't mixed well. It was not mixed well at all. But in terms of its instrumentation, in terms of the story it's trying to tell with its lyrics, like, it has this, like, sort of twisted medieval England, like, witches and bonfires and shit like that sort of story to it, from what I was able to gather. It's really good, and it's told well, but the production really castrates this one. But I'm not giving it a low grade because of how good the band do, which is what elevates it to a B and not, like, to anything C or D-ish, so... Yeah, if I were judging it based on production alone, I think I only gave the production, like, an official, like, C, but it was still bad. But the album is really good if you can push past that. Next is A Feather and Bone with Sulfuric Disintegration. More metal. Yay. So, yeah, this is a band that hasn't been around for too long, or might have been around for a while. I'm just going to go with that now. And, yeah, I was expecting this album to be a lot heavier, and it was. It was a death metal album. Of course it was going to be heavy, Jake, you moron. So... Yeah, I mean, I don't really need to say a lot else about this one, just really good death metal. Like, and in a year where we've needed good death metal that doesn't really overcomplicate things, this album does try to go a bit off the rails at points, but it does stay within its lane, and I have to give it credit for that. And yeah, there were points where it could have gone a lot crazier and a lot more complicated, and a lot more of me just being like, no, stop this bullshit. But no, this album didn't do that, and it was just really good. Also, nice solos in the album. Also, the song titles are kind of gross, which you would expect from death metal, but like, this did reek a bit of try hard in that department. Still good, still gets a B, so not going to complain too much about it. Next is Powerman 5000 with The Noble Rot. Now, Powerman 5000 have been around, much like AC/DC, for arguably way too long, and Powerman have just been trying to recapture the success of like When Worlds Collide and Last Night on Earth and shit like that. They're just not able to. Spider-1, his vocal performance sounds phoned in. This album gets a C+, by the way. Yeah, he just does not sound like he's enjoying himself. This album didn't really go as hard as the last one did, and nah, I don't know. I feel like Powerman 5000 needs to either change something up because they still have time, or they need to just stop altogether. They need to like realise that their style should have stayed in the era where it was, and the changes they're making are not for their benefit. They really need to focus on that and like try to sort something out. But I could be proven wrong if they do another album, so we'll see. Next is Sea Haven with Halo of Hurt. Now this is another band that is putting out their first album in about 6 years, and this is another album I really liked. It gets an A. This is some really solid like post-hardcore alternative rock, emo, indie rock mix of stuff, and it was really good stuff. Yeah, their lead singer, Kyle, I think his name is, he's absolutely fantastic. The album itself just sounds really good. It's really nicely produced. This album has really good production. I like the structuring angles it takes. I can't really think of a reason I'm not giving this an A+. I think maybe it's just a bit too short, like it only has 9 songs on it. But for what we get, not going to complain. Really enjoy this one. Definitely worth taking out this. Next is Shame on Youth with Human Obsolescence. This is also a debut, and much like Mongrel's Cross album earlier, this is an album that has good parts to it. It's a good sleaze rock style album, and it's got quite a lot of really good lyrics going for it, like, you know, relating to a lot of the current events going on in 2020, even though the year's almost over. But, once again, the production, not great. They need to sort that out. I get that this is a debut, and, you know, I've listened to a lot of debuts this year that actually get production a lot better, but still, yeah, get that sorted for next time. Shame on you. If you have a lot of potential, I believe you can go far. Get a new producer next time. Unless you did this album yourself, I don't really know who did this one. If it was you yourself, then you need to get a handle on that and stop making it sound a bit, you know, crap. But if it's not you, and if it's someone else, kick that someone else out and get someone else to do it, or do it yourself if you know what you're doing. So, yeah, do that. Next is Shattered Hope with Vespers. Now, Shattered Hope are a band who haven't been around for super long. This is a sort of black metal, prog metal sort of album. It's only got 5 songs, and it manages to reach over a fucking hour, but I'm only giving it a B. Yeah, I thought this was going to be a lot worse, but it manages to fill that time interestingly enough. You know, I'm not giving it anything like A grade related, because it is a style that annoys me, and I've heard it, again, quite a lot this year, but it's got good moments, you know, it's got good bones to it, shall we say, and I feel like the band just needs to, you know, they should have diced at least all of the songs into 2. I'm just saying, it's long, it's a long album. How the fuck do you stretch 5 songs to an hour and 3 minutes? But still, B. Next is Stolen Wheelchairs, that is their name, with The America. Now, Stolen Wheelchairs are a new punk rock band, and this is the one I was alluding to earlier when talking about On the Avalanche. And this one also gets an A+. I've actually listened to this one probably more than a couple of the other albums I've listened to in November. Yeah, this is just a really solid punk debut. A perfect mixture of its song structuring, really good lyrics, really good production as well. Once again, it's a debut. It can be done correctly, shame on youth. I'm telling you. Yeah, just so much went right for this one. Like, lyrically, instrumentally, it's got that punk rock snarly attitude, done perfectly for the modern age. And I feel like this is a band we need right now, and I hope that they stick around, because I'm looking forward to a lot more stuff like The America. This is really good. Seek this one out. Trust me. Next is Soma with The Light Within. Now, Soma are a sort of, once again, a symphonic act. Female lead singer. I think there's a male one as well. I could be slightly wrong about that, but what I'm not wrong about is the fact that this album is actually really good. I'm giving it a B+. But yeah, just really good symphonic sort of stylings. It's got some interesting lyrical content on it as well that sort of tells a tiny concept to it. It's not like an overarching one, and considering that there's about 12 or 13 songs on this album, it could have tried that, but the lyrics themselves are not bad, and it does try a lot of stuff that the genre doesn't usually do, so B+. Can't really complain. Also produced really wonderfully. Oh my god, it's produced wonderfully. Next is Within the Ruins of Black Heart. Now, Within the Ruins are an Australian band, and I love my Australian bands, so yeah. But yeah, this is a prog metalcore sort of act, and giving this one a B. I thought this was really solid. I'm docking points because there's 10 songs. That's not the reason I'm docking points. I'm docking it because 2 of those songs are just instrumental tracks, and they're like the 2 longest tracks on the album. I'm not making that up. That is dumb. Why? The closing track is 6 minutes long and it's just instrumental work. There's no vocals. Don't do this. It is annoying. But yeah, I thought this album itself, when there's actual singing on it, or screaming, is really good. Their lead singer, he can scream really well. He's got like a lovely lower register to his voice. And yeah, lyrics, metal, instrumental work, really good and technical actually. Lyrics, metal. But yeah, I thought this was pretty solidly enjoyable, and this is their 6th or 5th album. They've actually been around for a wee while, so yeah, this might be... I might have to go over their other stuff to see if it's anything similar to this, but as it is, I really like this one, so I may do that anyway. And finally, yes, we're at the end, Without Mercy with Seismic. Now, Without Mercy is a band... I think this is their 3rd album. It's their first in like 10 years or something. I could be very wrong about that. And it's more sort of metal. We're ending with metal. It's heavy. It's got a bit of like it's got some surprising metalcore structure which I didn't expect. And I'm gonna give it a B-. Now, this album can take a while to get used to and find its groove, but when it does find it, you're in for a treat. There's only 9 songs, and a couple of those are a bit longer than they should be, but it's not produced well, and it's performed nicely enough. It can take a while to get used to the whiplash of this album, though, so it's something worth keeping in mind if you choose to listen to it, and I'm not recommending it. You know, B- isn't like a super duper shit grade. You know, it's still really good, it's got its moments, but yeah, I can't really give anything higher, because it takes a while to get used to, and it can be a bit too much to grin and bear. But the album is one of those cases of when it gets it right, it really does get it right, so if you're into that kind of stuff, just give it a go. And that will about do it for this episode of Music of the Month. If there was anything that took your fancy, let me know. I know I gave a lot of A grades and B grades in this one. The 2 I do recommend the most are Orion, the Avalanche, and Stolen Wheelchairs, but I would also recommend giving new Sea Haven a go, the new Accuser album, the new Hatebreed album, the Future Islands. Yes, I am looking through them. Mercules. There was just a lot of really good stuff in November. That it was just full of bangers, tons of bangers. So I'm glad I got to cover a lot of them. Well, all the ones I heard anyway. I don't listen to every album because these videos would take hours to finish if that were the case, and they already take long enough. So I will see you all tonight for the first episode of PBW versus AVW, or rather AVW versus PBW because AVW is going first. And I'll see you for that, and the next thing could be either a Further Night or a very brief history of the Runaways, if I can get that done. Or the game review for Yakuza 0, because I've written that. Either way, no matter what happens, here's my cat. As always, thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye. Bye.